All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the math of this whole process because that's the exciting part for me. So let me grab another pen. We're going to go with purple. All right, so if you take and put a point here, a point here, and a point here, you have a triangle. Okay, now we can talk about that being the Holy Trinity, the 3 points. You have 3 lines, three edges, which ends up making up a triangle. Okay, but I'm more interested in talking about what these represent. This one right here is going to represent us, humans. Okay, this one right here is going to represent God. And this one right here is going to represent Jesus. Now, you can replace these with whatever you want. Source, energy, goddess, Jesus, Muhammad, sun, human, spirit, or human, flesh, man, woman, us, whatever you want to, okay? But here's the part that is going to stand out on this. Humans are 18. This is the number 18. Why? Because 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18. We are made of carbon, and carbon has 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. Okay, that is us. We are 18. Now, 18 times 12, you might know what that is going to be 216. All right, 216 times 2, let's put it right here, equals 432. That is going to be God. Okay, so we understand this. Humans are 18 based off of the carbon, 666. 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. And 216 times 2 equals 432. All right, human, Jesus, God. Human, spirit, God. Okay, now there's a whole process that goes on with this, because what people don't understand is that when you start this journey, everybody thinks that you're going from human to God. Okay, how many people have you met who have said, you know, like, I'm on this path, I want to be like God, I want to reach that level of God, I want to raise my kundalini, how do I become enlightened is another favorite one. Okay, that is you saying the question, how do I become a human to God? Because you know that it's possible. We just don't know how it's possible. And that's what I'm going to show you here right now. Okay, so the first thing that we have to understand is that God travels faster than the speed of light. Okay, that is important because it tells you, and we're going to put this as A, B, and C. Okay, because what it tells you is it tells you that God travels faster than the speed of light, which means that if God comes this way heading towards a human, it's going right through you. All right, everything that you see in your world is at the speed of light. You are made up of particles that are basically all light. And so if God is moving faster than the speed of light, it's moving right through you. God cannot enter you. Okay, we're just going to cut it right there. There's never a point that God is going to enter the human. All right, and that's just science at this point, because God travels faster than the speed of light, because God is love, and love travels faster than the speed of light. Energy, all right, equals mc squared. What this is saying, if you replace the word energy with love, is love equals all mass times the speed of light squared. Okay, it's faster than the speed of light. Okay, so God moves faster than the speed of light, moves through humans, which means this direction, C to A, cannot happen. Okay, so we're going to mark that one off. C to A will not work. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll try to see if we can get A to C. All right, so the problem that we have is that we have to take 24 steps. We have to take 24 additional steps to get to God. Is this possible? 100%. 100%. There are many people who have walked this walk. They went from a human to God. And the reason that they did it is because every single wall that existed between them and God, their childhood, their teenagers, their parents, their relationships, their anger, their justification, their clarity of war, their clarity of time and past and present, all of that they worked through. And because they worked through it, they were able to understand and see things faster than the speed of light. They were able to see the love. And if you can see the love unconditionally, then you can move as a human into God. It is possible, but it is not the path that the average person is seeking. And it takes a lot of work. Okay. So the next path that was created. Okay, let me go just clean this up a little bit. So the next path that was created was to add in B, because if we can't go from C to A, and it's very difficult to go from A to C, then what we can do is we can go from A to B or from B to A. But before we can go from B to A, we have to figure out the balance between these two. Okay. And as I said, it is actually 50% because 216 times 2 ends up being 432. 432 divided by 2 gives you 216. So what happened is God basically took and split itself into two, right? Duality, experience versus knowing, split itself into two and became Jesus. Jesus is now that 216. Okay. Now, the really cool thing about this is that Jesus and God, believe it or not, are identical in our minds. Okay. Why? Because you didn't live when Jesus lived and you've never met God. Okay. They are both figments of our imagination. We don't know if Jesus actually lived, and we don't have a clue whether God is really real. They are both figments of our imagination, but one of them is more true than the other. And the one that is more true than the other one is God, because Jesus is not universal. It's not universal. Not everybody believes in Jesus. Not everybody believes in this walk. But God, everybody does believe in something greater than themselves. And that's the definition of God. Okay. So Jesus then ends up slowing down, because at this point, Jesus and God are moving faster than the speed of light. Okay. But once Jesus is revealed for the truth of what it is, which is that it is an illusion of God, it is part of God, it slows down. And because it slows down, it now becomes something that the human can see, because something that the human can interpret, can understand. And because the human can understand it, it can bring it into itself. Jesus can go into the human. Buddha can go into the human's walk. The spirit of Christ can go into the human. That is what that is saying. Okay. So now that the human is at the place that it is, 216 plus 18 gives you 234. Why does that matter? That matters because 234 plus God, 432 equals 666. And I know this is a very difficult thing for people to understand, but 666 is the completion of this cycle. God is experiencing itself, which is you, through being a human. Without you, there's an incomplete God, because that's where the 216 and the 18 come together. But God understood that to go into you is to go against your free will. To have God take over your body is against your free will, which means all of this is pointless. If you are in a relationship with somebody and everything is going great, and then one day you have a fight and you have the ability to go in and erase that fight from that person's mind, that is going against their free will. And if you want to see a live example of that, watch Buffy. There's a whole episode where Willow ends up erasing Tara's mind after a fight, and it's going against her free will, and it causes their breakup. So understand something, that God is never going to go against your free will. Whatever you believe in that created all of this, created it with such a balance, perfection, and beauty that it will not break it by going against your free will. Everything in this existence is built off of the promise of free will. And if you break free will, you end up breaking your reality. You break things up. So God is never going to break their reality, whoever he, she, whatever you want to believe. And so therefore, cannot go this way. Okay, so then created, gave itself, sacrificed itself to become the 216. The 216 can be slower than the speed of love and therefore enter a human. And then a human with Jesus and God ends up becoming the full completion of the 666. Okay, now this is in the Bible, you see, because if you go to Revelations 13:18, it is going to talk about 666. Okay, if you go to Revelations 2:16, it is going to talk about Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. 666, the beginning and the end, the triangle, the completion. That's what it's talking about.